Were you there the next day too?
Bill had called me. I was in Pittsburgh. I was getting ready to go to class first thing in the morning, and he said, "There's a flood." And I said, "Well, I heard." He says, "No, you don't understand. There was a flood. People are dead. And Arnie's is gone. And our place, our cottage was badly damaged." I went to as far as I could go, which was Rockers, the corners, Keppel's Corners. And of course, everything was shut down. So I ended up going to Parker. I couldn't get across there. I went to Clarion. I went to Clarion and came down 68. Yeah. So
That's what I did too.
Were you able to walk across the bridge to get to your
right,
place?
yeah. Well, they asked. Well, they knew me, so they knew we had a place there. But I don't think they were letting just everybody go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I parked at the Crystal and walked across. I remember I didn't know at the time, but when I walked over, I was coming through the cut, and I saw people coming towards me, Debbie, and just people I knew. I kind of threw up my hands and said, what happened here? And they of course responded the same way. Then I was able to come around the corner and see, and it was unbelievable. When I walked down our lane and saw that Arnie's was gone, there was a car sitting there, and I don't know who, it was just a random car. And on the back of it, on the hood of the car, there was a stack. It was a photo album, and there were loose pictures also, just stacked on this car. And I went and looked at it, and it was Kuster's. I didn't know at the time that they were some of the ones that were lost. And I thought, well, maybe somebody just stacked them here, but I don't think so. It was very weird and sad. And
Like Bill, you said, was there really a refrigerator in your pool?
I recall that, wasn't there?
But there was one. It was up against the house. It was up on. It was written on the back of one of the pictures that there was a refrigerator that was up really high on the house. It must have been rested on top of the trees that we had these giant pine trees along the creek, and it was eroding in under it. And so we had talked. I remember Dad had talked about having those taken down because they were a danger. If they ever came down, they would hit the house. So, but of course we did not. And when the flood hit, it knocked those trees down and it shoved them up against the house. And where the root system ended was where the porch began, and it split the water right around the house.
But our renter there was Arnie Frazier, famous for having been on the front of, I think, Life magazine when he was a soldier, a Marine, yeah. We had a cottage, a separate cottage on our property there. Great tenant of ours for years, but he was coming home from, I think he worked in Petrolia somewhere. On the night of that, he must have worked a late shift or something, and he was kind of racing home because the water was kind of following him, is the impression I got. But anyway, he pulled into our lane, and his cottage was right at pretty much to the head of the lane, and he pulled into his driveway there, and he could hear the sound of the flood approaching behind him, following him. So he was a smart guy. He took his truck and he backed it up the hillside, and he watched the house float away.